Hey guys, Jesus here. I just wanted to give my quick review. I wanted to give my spoiler-filled review of the Season 4 Episode 1 premiere of Rick and Morty. I loved the episode title. It references one of my favorite movies, Edge of Tomorrow. Very little similarities between that movie and this episode, right? In that movie, Tom Cruise keeps coming back to life over and over again in the same spot, and in this one, Rick comes back to life over and over again, but in different spots across the galaxy, giving it that nice Rick and Morty flavor. Overall, I would give this episode an A+, but then Summer comes in and ruins it at the end, so this is like an A- episode. What I love about this episode is it does something that I don't know if you experienced in high school, but I definitely experienced in high school, where you see that one person that you're pining after and you just want to sacrifice everything for the end, so you end up with them. And I love this episode because I love love stories. That's like why one of my favorite movies is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and The Shape of Water. Just give me a sci-fi love story and I'm all in. Even though Rick and Morty has done a love story with Morty and Jessica before, I think they top it this time. Because the last time they did like a Rick and Morty Jessica thing, it was Rick Potion #9, where they create a potion and then basically create one of the first shock values of the Rick and Morty series, where both Rick and Morty die. So it's kind of a callback to Rick dying for the first time. And I was shocked when Rick dies in this episode, just like Morty's just like a poor driver and crashes him into that spike thing. And then Rick dies, and that's like really shocking and entertaining. And some people are like, oh, I saw that coming, Rick's died plenty of times, not shocking anymore. I'm like, if the main character dies and your heart doesn't skip a beat, you should probably not watch the show. But that death scene where he was up on the spike, bleeding horribly, no show kills their protagonist so viciously over and over. And like, even South Park's Kenny deaths weren't as vicious as like the amount of times I've seen Rick die a horrible death. So I think it's just because Rick and Morty has better animation probably than South Park. So it's like tears you away from that thing where you always feel that protection of having your main hero safe. And that's what I like about that death scene. I don't know if you noticed, but like they had a Trover versus the Universe Easter egg there, and I saw the video game with Justin Roiland's voice animations, and he really sells that game hard because he does so many dialogue options that the game doesn't even need. Justin got drunk in the reporting booth and just started talking, and it works. You just hear Morty and Rick's voice through that entire game, so it's a nice little Easter egg for the Season 4 premiere. That third act was beautiful. I just, like, Morty isolates himself from society. And I think if you're a nerd in high school, I think that's how you're gonna get the girl. By isolating yourself at home, not talking to anyone. And that's what Morty did. He just like isolated himself, turned into a giant black monster in an isolation thing that was kind of like H.P. Lovecraftian, turning into this black cocoon, and hologram Rick and Wasp Rick. So many Ricks in this episode, and it wasn't even a Citadel episode. Mr. Meeseeks came back in this episode, which is just absolutely fantastic. Mr. Meeseeks is one of my favorite characters. Hi, Mr. Meeseeks, look at me!
Always 10 toes like feats. Give me some built-in cleats. You don't need help like cheats. You don't need help like me. Seeks, run on my back like beach.
And Mr. Meeseeks, he didn't just come back, he just came back with a vengeance, which I love about the Rick and Morty writers, because they're not just gonna bring Mr. Meeseeks back as background character. Well, I guess they have. I take that back. But this is the first time since the first introduction of Mr. Meeseeks, that Mr. Meeseeks had actually played a valuable role in the plot. And I appreciate that not only once, but twice in both the A storyline and the B storyline. And then they brought a Kirkland brand Meeseeks. And I can't think of a better introduction to Mr. Meeseeks than him killing a fascist. Mwah. Beautiful use of Mr. Meeseeks that I would have never done. Like, I can kind of see Morty using Meeseeks to protect himself from the police, because that was kind of done in this comic book in a way. Like, Mr. Meeseeks just like are used as a way to help our hero Morty. I wonder if I can find it right now. It was used in the comic book, and he actually saved Rick's and Morty's life. Him used in this episode again. Just lovely. Overall stellar episode. I also thought that Jessica's line whenever she's at the courthouse, like, yeah, me and my friends are just gonna be naked in a bathtub later. This is like literally the last thing I'm gonna say while fully clothed. And then Morty just walks off with a death crystal. Got to die old with you. And that teaches you a lot about women, honestly, because if you ever want a woman, you need to be in the present. You can't just think about dying with her. And this is the type of episode that I kind of wish that I had when I was in high school, just to teach me the direction in life is that you shouldn't really know your direction in life, just like live in the moment. The best after credits end scene of any Rick and Morty episode. This one takes the cake. Oh, can I just say the end credit scene, my favorite part of the end credit scene is that Jessica and Morty are the same age. So if Morty's dying in a nursing home comforted by Jessica, then he's being comforted by an old nurse, which already sucks. Like, it's not even a pretty looking Jessica as his final recompense for living out his life in solitude, which, I love that end joke, after credit end scene for that. So yeah, another thing I want to talk about is a very beautiful, subtle thing this episode has that you might not have noticed, is that on, what's her name? Jessica's neck, when Morty's using the death crystal and he's constantly seeing Jessica. Jessica's wearing a little necklace that says Margaritaville. So if you're not familiar with the Jimmy Buffett song, Margaritaville. Get away again in Margaritaville. Some people claim that there's a Margaritaville is about living in this paradise at the very end of your life. Like, everything needs to be focused on Margaritaville at the very end, where you just vacation on an island drinking margaritas. And people think that's a good thing. Like, they think that's an aspiration to attain. But just like this Rick and Morty episode says, where you shouldn't be waiting to the end to get all the goods. You know, you shouldn't be waiting to the end, Morty, to get all the goods with Jessica while she's an 80-year-old woman. Nah, you should be getting the goods right now at that pool party, right? You're wasting your life. People think that's a good thing, but it's a lament saying that you did not live in the present. So that's a added little Easter egg in this episode that I really enjoyed. I think I'm going to do these for all the episodes of this season, just so I can grow my comfort with talking on camera and trying to elaborate on some of the genius of this episodes that you might miss during this season. Thank you guys. My name's been Jesus. Thanks for watching. If it's your first time here, I don't know how you lasted this long talking to some nerd in a beanie. But subscribe, like, let me know what you thought about this episode. It really helps the channel a lot, commenting and liking and all that.
Need help like cheats. You don't need help like me. Seeks, run on my back like leech. It's a good
the show.